Kia ora, I'm Davina Zimmer, and today on The Detail.
On the third day of the operation, the span is finally settled. The carrier is floated away and Auckland's Harbour Bridge is one stage nearer completion.
If you live on Auckland's North Shore, driving to work isn't exactly the most relaxing experience these days.
The bridge is awful. And plus we've heard all those rumours that it's falling apart. So something new would be good.
It's a debate that spanned decades.
An Auckland Regional Council committees approved in principle building a bridge alongside the existing one.
We reduce the congestion, we reduce the air pollution, we reduce the traffic noise.
A bold plan for Auckland's future.
There is no question that additional connectivity across the harbour is required.
Our view is that we really want to focus on making sure that we've got really good second harbour crossing options with respect to cars and to freight.
Bevan and many other people have worked on a vision of connecting our city.
And yet, despite the many proposals, reports and plans, Auckland still doesn't have a second city harbour crossing. So is the appearance of a mysterious yellow vessel in the Waitematā Harbour a sign that could change?
So we're looking to be hopefully in the ground or in the seabed, under the seabed, by 2029, 2030.
No, it's not a pack and save for yachties or a dive platform for manu competitions.
I was disappointed to see no reference to Thunderbirds in there, but I liked the pack and save for yachties. That was definitely my favourite.
This mysterious yellow vessel is a jack-up barge.
So what it's doing is it's doing geotech investigation. So what it does is it's drilling down to about 75, 74 metres deep below the seabed.
Today we're getting up close and personal with this 200-tonne beauty to learn about geological testing and how it's helping further plans for a second city crossing.
There's never been any substantive geotechnical drilling into Waitematā before, so this is really the first time that we're seeing a picture of what the rock conditions are underground.
That's geologist Sian France. I'll be heading out on the tugboat with her and the rest of the team soon. But first, here's Mark Ware, Project Director for NZTA.
So we're doing over 40 marine-based geotech holes through the corridor. And our geotech engineers, they do investigations and looking at what the soil type is and understanding the nature of the soil. We've been doing land-based drilling on the northern side, and you'll see a rig over there at the moment. And then later on we'll start on the southern side around Victoria Park and also around the viaduct.
So why should people feel that we're actually taking steps forward and it's not just another plan being done and then that will get tossed into the paper basket?
We've done a lot of work on the assessment of the current condition of the bridge. So we'll be putting a case up to our board later on or next year that outlines the issues we have here. But we're getting on with the work. We're doing the geotech drilling, we're doing land-based drilling as well, and we're really getting a good sense of what it will really cost. So all of that work will contribute towards more design, better cost estimation and understanding all the trade-offs and the mitigations that we have. We're also talking to the market, so we've been doing our initial market sounding both here in Australia. So we're getting a good sense from the market as well as to what we should be thinking about as we structure this whole project up. So we've really got momentum on this, and we're looking to build a lot of confidence around what we're designing for.
What they're designing for is either a bridge or a tunnel. One idea is to split north and southbound traffic across the two crossings, easing congestion. There would be plenty of space for cars, freight and dedicated bus lanes, but nothing in terms of cycleways or pedestrian access.
At the moment, our design is actually not inclusive of active modes. It doesn't preclude us being able to put it in place later on, but right now we're not designing for it.
Why not?
Our mandate right now is to design for effectively 12 lanes, 2 bus only lanes within that 12 lanes, and the rest of it's for general traffic. So that's the mandate we've been asked to design to.
This may be ignorant of me, but it doesn't seem like a cycle lane would take up much space. So why not just, tack on a little extra 1 metre to the side?
Well, at the end of the day, that little extra adds hundreds of millions of dollars onto the cost of a project. And as I say, we're not excluding the ability to add it on later on if governments decide that it's a priority. Our current government has decided it's not a priority in the government policy statement. And so we're designing for the 12 lanes.
This is the first time geotech drilling has taken place in the harbour, beyond the direct vicinity of the existing bridge. It's a lengthy process. Work started in March and will continue through winter all the way into spring.
So we expect to be finished around about August, September.
Seems like it takes a long time to
Well, each hole
drill
takes
holes.
between 4 and 5 days.
Really?
So you're drilling upwards of 75 metres in the marine area below the surface and 65 metres in land. So that's a long way down. 4 to 5 days a hole, and you start adding that up, plus weather. And our marine geotechs are working 24 hours a day, so it takes time.
Once you've done all the drilling, you've drilled these 44 holes, you've got the samples back, what are you looking for? What's the ideal scenario?
So we're looking for, in terms of the tunnel and also the bridge, we're looking for where the rock is, for the solid ground, because what you don't want to be doing is building in mud. So we want to understand how deep the rock is, sandstone in particular, because what that means is that we can then design to that depth. Well, good thing is that of the 6 or so holes that we've done to date, it's all as we expected. So the sandstone is where we expected it to be, so that's great news.
How much is this all costing?
In terms of the
drilling?
The drilling?
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, it's not cheap. 6 months of geotech or 7 months of geotech drilling isn't cheap, so it's in the millions. But you've got to do the work, otherwise the mistakes that could result from not doing it later on could be considerably more.
And that's being funded through
the National Land Transport Fund.
And so once you've done the digging and it's looking positive so far, and you get to the 44th hole and it says, oh, yep, it's great, perfect ground, you got the rocks, you got the stable ground, what's the next step after that?
So while we're doing the geotech, we're using that information to inform our design. So we're continuing to develop the design on both options all the way through till August, of which we'll then go into doing a lot more detail around constructability and cost estimation.
And then I guess the question that everyone wants to know is, when do we get shovels in the ground?
So we're looking for a decision from our board and government by mid-next year. Depending on what that decision looks like, then it will take us a number of years to finish off the designs, procure services and contractors. So we're looking to be hopefully in the ground or in the seabed, under the seabed, by 2029, 2030. That's our intention.
Yeah. What happens, and because we've seen this happen in the past, we've got an election coming up. If we have a change of government, can this all just get thrown out?
Oh, look, I mean, that's the government's prerogative of the day, so we hope that what we've done is enough in terms of providing evidence of what the current bridge is looking like and its condition. We've also got sea level rise on the rest of the corridor that we have to contend with, and so, hopefully we've got a strong enough case that any government coming in sees the benefit of actually undertaking the work that we're doing in building an alternative harbour crossing.
But there's nothing really, I guess, in the legislation that secures the work that's being done now across multiple governments that says, okay, if we change government, regardless, the planning of this is still staying the same. We're still going.
That's right, and that's the case for any project that we undertake. Change of governments may see different priorities, and that's okay. We've got to do what we need to do to ensure that we've got the best case to put forward, and we hope that whatever government of the day there is will be okay with what we've done.
Must be frustrating for you though. You do all this work in a project and then next government could come in and say, nah, we don't want to do that anyway, and then you have to start something else again.
That's the job. That's the job.
Yeah, we'll get everyone on board. Morning.
Now I'm joining some of the barge team on the tugboat to go and see the jack-up barge.
So just another thing, guys, is there's a life ring outside here, around the corner. There's an EPIRB up here. There's a first aid kits are down here.
Where do you want us out of the way?
Putting down here or holding on here is normally a pretty good spot.
Okay. Oh, and we're moving.
So you're quite lucky today. we're on the bigger boat because of the tides, but some of the barge sites are quite difficult to get to, so we have to work around the tides, and in some of the areas where we have really low tide, there's not enough water depth to get this boat in, so this is probably the biggest of our transfer vessels, but we do also have 2 other boats that get progressively smaller, so much more exposed to the elements.
That's Sian, who you heard earlier. We're also joined on the boat by another geologist, Georgia Woodside, as well as Sam Woodford, one of the barge masters. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is shining, the water's calm, but Georgia says it's not always like this.
We've had, lightning, hail, sun, wind, but there is some nice bits of shelter on the jack-up barge, so if it does get crazy, we at least have somewhere to go.
Yeah. So you're out there, rain, hail, shine, no matter what the weather?
No matter what, we're just going to keep on drilling.
How many people do you usually have on the barge at any one given time?
So it's usually 1 geo, and then we've got the 3 crew for the drill crews. And we've also got the barge master that'll be out there.
So you're out there from midday to midnight. That's a long time.
Yeah, we see it all. It's obviously a very tight program, so we just do what we can.
Yeah. And obviously we've had to put a lot of controls in around health and safety because of those long shifts, so a lot of time was spent planning out the scheduling, sorting the rotations, so we're still trying to keep their working hours in a week to something close to a normal week, so they do 4 days on and then 4 days off, so that they've got a really good break after 4 quite long days.
How did you get into this kind of work?
Probably very similar to Georgia. I think if you speak to any of the geologists, because I'm a geologist as well, we've all come from a love of the outdoors and a desire to spend time outside rather than in an office or sit in front of a computer all day. So yeah, I really love volcanoes. I love getting out on the water, so geology was a natural fit.
Yeah, you'd say getting in the outside. It's a blue sky day. We're out in the harbour, going out on what feels like a cruise. I can imagine a lot of people would be pretty envious of this job.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. We get to go to some pretty neat locations. You get to go to pretty remote locations you wouldn't normally get to visit, on a holiday or on a day-to-day basis. So I think we get to see a lot of the country.
What's your favourite spot that you've done?
For drilling?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd have to think about that. I don't think I've got a favourite.
Do you have a favourite off the top of your head?
I do. Up in the Mangamukas, the Mangamuka Gorge or the Mangataniwha range. It has really beautiful geology up there, and I focused my masters on that specific geology, so it was really cool to be able to do studying and work at the same time and sort of tie them together.
You thought of one? Or are you still thinking?
Mine was actually probably not dissimilar to this. It was drilling for the Tauranga Harbour Bridge. So that was a while ago now, but I did barge drilling out there when I first left university, and probably similar to what Georgia's picked up on, just being out there and getting to see the sunrise and the sunset.
After a short ride, we arrive at the barge. Today it's on the north shore end of the bridge. The big yellow box-like vessel is looming several metres over us due to low tide.
The container at the end there is somewhere that the team can retreat to if there's bad weather.
Oh, right.
And the container at the end's got a little kitchenette set up. So there's a tap, there's running water, there's a kettle, a microwave. So there's some pretty nice facilities for the crew when they need to stop and have a break.
Well, I already noticed that even the tugboat has its own little stovetop kettle and everything. You're pretty well stocked here.
Yeah, pretty important when you've got people out for 12 hours in the conditions. You want to be able to sit and eat comfortably, have a drink, wash your hands.
How many coffees do you have a day during that kind of shift?
For the night shifts, midnight to midday, definitely about 3. But having the microwave on board has been a lifesaver. It's actually a better setup than I have in my flat. So I've been loving a microwave meal.
So Sam is our drilling supervisor.
Oh, okay.
He's also out there on a very regular basis looking after the drill crew.
So you're the one kind of in charge of everyone, making sure they're behaving.
I am. I'm running the drill crew to keep them in line. Yep.
Yeah.
Make sure they're not being naughty. Yep.
Yeah. So what does a typical day look like for you heading out on the barge?
So we normally work from 5 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. And it's kind of like just looking after whatever's going on the barge. So if they're doing any testing or something like that, I'll be on board for them. And anything that's a little bit awkward. So yeah, otherwise it's pretty much a straightforward day. So the drillers are on board now. They're probably hiding. They'll be hiding out of the way. They don't like cameras. But yeah, so they are up and behind those drill force signs that were up on the stage. So they've got their own little house there. They call it a dog house. Mm-hmm. So they're on there, and they've got their own microwave and oven in there. So they make themselves toasties, and they've got the drilling rig going, and then pulling out the core for for the road, for the tunnel.
So it's this
it's about
big square yellow box.
It is about 200 tonnes up there. Those legs are about 30 metres long. They've got big feet on the bottom of them. They sit on the seafloor, and then they jack us up, on the seafloor. Yeah.
And so if you go to move it, how do you move it?
Those legs retract up, and then it floats, and then this guy comes and ties on side the tug, and then they move it over. They got the GPSs on board. Then they go and find the next hole for us. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Easy peasy. And you're kind of here, there, and everywhere. I mean, you come out one day and you're over that side of the harbour, and then today you're all the way on the other side of the harbour bridge. Oh, and you're just seeing someone doing a bungee jump over there.
Yeah.
That must keep things pretty entertaining.
It is. Yeah, nightlife out here is good. The bridge is all lit up, and then all the sky towers all lit up out here for us. So, some great views. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
Do you have a favourite spot yet? I mean, you must have been all around in the harbour.
This harbour? Yeah. No, I've got a shot of right under the bridge there with the moon going down there. So it's setting one night. Yeah. Or coming up. Yeah. So it's great.
How does work for you work, I guess? You've got this for 6 months. So after that, are you employed by NZTA or you're sent anywhere?
So I'm a contractor myself. So I'm contract to Drillforce to run this project for them. So I've just come off of the Northern Corridor for them as well. So I've just been transferred to here. But we just go all around the world, like from Antarctica to the equator. And we do projects for climate change, and then we go up and do geothermal work wherever the projects are on the world. So we just travel there.
Antarctica sounds exciting. What's your favourite project that you've worked on?
Probably the Andrel project. Yeah, we're there for 100 days out on the ice. Same sort of drilling rig. We do the same work, but just a little bit different atmosphere. That's all. Yeah.
Bit colder, I would imagine.
Yeah, -20 is a little bit colder. So we're well clothed though. We're inside a shack where it's all heated. So we're fine. It's the same with up there. Those boys have got a heated grey container on the end. That's all heated up for the girls and the boys to dry their coats out when it gets cold.
Yeah.
And so it's good. Yeah.
Because Georgia was saying you're out here, rain, hail, shine, any time of the day. So even like last week, we had some pretty horrendous weather. I was quite happy to be in my office, but you'll still be out here drilling away.
Yep. Exactly. So they spend the least amount of time as they can outside when it's cold, and so they'll go into the drying room and dry off down there and get warm, then come back out when it's necessary. But when it's like this, they'll be out wandering around. Yeah.
And we do have some upper thresholds, so we've had a couple of instances where we have shut down works because the wind's just been at a point where, we've become concerned from a health and safety perspective about people being out and having to transfer. But generally, they're out here in most conditions that people don't have to be exposed to.
Shine. I want to know a bit more about the drilling process. I know Mark was telling me earlier that it can take 4 to 5 days to drill and extract one hole.
Yeah, so we bring out a continuous sample about 6 centimetres round from the seafloor down to about 70 odd metres. So in doing that, we've got a bit of steel pipe, and it's actually got diamonds on the end of it, industrial diamonds. So they cut the rock for us, and we pull it out in sections of 1.5 metres long on a wire each time, and then we lay it out, and then the geo team, they clean it up and box it up, ready for a bit of studying. Yeah.
And so you'll clean it up and box it up. What does that entail?
So often when it comes out, it's got a bit of drilling fluid or a bit of clay or something from the hole over it, so we sort of wash it off so it's very clear what we're looking at. And then we'll box it up, taking great care not to break it or anything like that, because it can be used for different kinds of testing. And then we'll log it. So for example, here we've got the East Coast Bays Formation, so that's siltstone and sandstones interbedded. And then we'll make sure it's all recorded so that we understand the story of what's going on down the hole.
So it comes out as like a 1.5 metre solid tube. I didn't realise it was solid. I thought that it was all the dirt and stuff as well.
No, it is solid. Obviously we have the soil overlying, but once we hit that rock, it's very consistently solid.
Have there been any that you look at and you're like, oh, this is some really interesting stuff, I'd quite like to study it?
I mean, as geologists, we find the little things interesting.
Yeah.
So we've seen sort of microfaulting or sedimentary structures, things like that.
What's that?
They sort of tell the story of how it was deposited, 24 odd million years ago. So for us it's exciting. Probably for the average person it would just look like a small offset in the core.
So where does it go to be studied?
So what we do is that we transfer it from the barge to a temporary storage where we can extract samples. So those samples go off depending on, it could be strength testing or composition testing, so to find out exactly what's going on within the sample, and then it's boxed and put into more of a long-term storage. So if anyone has questions later down the line or they want to see another section of the core again, it's there and it's available.
So if we get to, I don't know, in another 60 years and we want a third harbour crossing, for instance, they could go back and look at these and say, oh, okay, so this is what the drill testing back in 2025 told us.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to reuse the samples again, so the samples do degrade over time, so we have a limited window to get them off the barge. One of the things Georgia does when she's logging it is she wraps it in plastic, so we take it back, try to maintain its natural moisture content. It's probably only got a few months worth of storage before it starts to lose some of its strength characteristics. But it's why the logs and the photographs are so important. So we'll have the logs, we'll have the photographs, we'll have the samples we've sent off to the lab, and we've also got some downhole testing that we do as well, which is part of why it's such a long process.
What's downhole testing? Tell me about that.
Basically, once we've drilled the hole or in the process, depending, we're doing some tests down the hole. So we've had packer testing, which is a type of water pressure test. We've also done a regular pressure test, ATV and OTV, which stands for acoustic optical teleview. So it's basically getting an image of the hole. It gives you quite a high resolution image. The pressure tests are sort of figuring out strength and how much pressure it takes to break the specific formation.
And that would obviously be quite important if you're thinking, okay, so how much load bearing can this bridge have?
Yeah, it's all about how the ground will respond to construction activity. So if you pile for a bridge, if we bring a tunnel boring machine in for a tunnel, how will the ground respond? Will it stay open by itself? Do we need additional engineering means to support it? How do we design and build it in a safe manner? So it's all that information that feeds into not just the design but the constructability, how long it'll take, how easy it'll be to build, how much it'll cost.
Because I guess for people who've been waiting for a harbour crossing for quite some time, they're like, why do you need to do more drilling to test and stuff like that? Why can't you just get the drilling in and get the bridge in the ground? But it's not quite that simple, is it?
It's not, and there's never been any substantive geotechnical drilling into Waitematā before, so this is really the first time that we're seeing a picture of what the rock conditions are underground. But also to your other point, by the time you've already got all your kit on ground, you've got your TBM, you've got your piling machines, you've missed the opportunity to really manage cost risk, and so that's a really huge part of getting geotech investigations done up front, is being able to have confidence in how you're going to build it and how much it's going to cost to build it. Trying to minimise surprises. There's a whole bunch of really good stats that come out of big construction projects in the UK that essentially demonstrate that a very small percentage of overall build spend in geotech will significantly reduce the likelihood of having construction overruns.
And that's all for today. The Detail is a newsroom production supported by RNZ and New Zealand On Air. Thank you to Mark Ware, Sian France, Georgia Woodside, Sam Woodford, and an extra thank you to Captain Mike for driving the tugboat. This episode was engineered by Alex Harmer and produced by Mark Jennings and Alexia Russell. I'm Davina Zimmer, ka kite anō.